Hi everyone, it's William with the Grand Duke Dmitri Diary series on YouTube, although we're doing a letter as it turns out today. I am on Dmitri's balcony at the place where he died in Davos, Switzerland at Schatzalp, Sanatorium Schatzalp, now Hotel Schatzalp. And I am the historian in residence here for a little over 2 months every year. So it's really nice to be able to inhabit his room and sit out on the balcony on a nice day like today. The view is to the east. Can you see Tinsenhorn in the background? I guess not. Or I'm sorry, the view is to the west. And I think I don't know if my face is, it's probably too much in shadow, but anyway, who wants to look at my face when there's this beautiful blue sky and mountain behind me and some nice bird song too, if you can hear it. So what are we doing today? Well, our recap for last time, we did a diary entry from the 31st of December 1917. Dmitri was in Tehran. I think all other rationally thinking people today on Wednesday the 8th of April 2026 are very relieved that that there wasn't an attack, that we didn't wake up to find out that there was horrible activity going on. Anyway, I won't say any more about that. Dmitri's state of mind in Tehran on that particular New Year's Eve was, of course, very unsettled. He spent it with the Russian colony. He wrote down 3 wishes and then swallowed them, wrote them down on little pieces of paper. And the 3 wishes, if you didn't watch that video, the 3 wishes were for greatness of spirit, for himself, monarchy for Russia, and a peaceful life for himself. All right, but we're going back in time and switching from the diary to a letter. This time we're going back to 1909, to May 1909, an undated letter, but it was clearly written not long after the birth of Prince Leonard of Sweden, who would later be Count Leonard Bernadotte after having married Morgan Attackley. Very nice man, one of the few people mentioned in the diaries and letters that I actually ever had an opportunity to be in contact with. And I didn't meet him face to face, but we exchanged some letters. And in fact, when he found out I'd been to Mainau, this was back in maybe 90, 91, and expressed interest in his uncle, he very kindly contacted me in London and sent me a copy of his memoirs, and I just, I can't say enough nice things about the man. And the fact that I have this letter is also thanks to him, because this is from the private Mainau collection. Okay, so Leonard on the Western calendar was born on 8th of May, and in Russia, it would still then have been April. But Dmitri, I don't know when he wrote this letter, but it was obviously after the 8th of May on the Gregorian calendar. He was 17 years old and newly starting his life of military service. And he wrote this letter from Tsarskoye Selo, which apparently he was there spending the weekend. Since it's not dated, I don't know what day of the week it was, but he would often go there for weekends. All right, here we go. My dear Mamasha, I haven't written you until now, dear Maria, so that you could read my letter easily by yourself. I offer you deep and sincere congratulations, my dear, on the birth of an heir, and of course I wish the same to both the parents and the son. As for the latter, my wish is that he will not resemble little Alexei in either appearance or behavior, because that would be very sad. I'm sending you, Maria, a trinket in memory of this important event. Wear it in good health. Maria, it is terribly unpleasant for me to refuse your request and not come to Sweden, but there are many reasons for it. Firstly, I'm so occupied with the battalion just now that it would be almost impossible to take a break. I won't have a chance to do what I'm doing again, or I won't have another chance to do what I'm doing. These 2 months are particularly important to me because at the end of June, the battalion will go to Tsarskoye, and next year, and from then on, I'll only be in the cavalry. Also, my civilian clothes aren't ready yet. I've outgrown everything. Zhdanov is on vacation, etc., but I will come to you in July. The sovereign already knows about it. Naturally, I would very much like to go to Sweden with their majesties when they go, but for God knows what reason, they won't take me. But enough about me. Tell me, how are you? Is it true that you're feeding the baby yourself? I apologize profusely to Wilhelm for not having answered his letter, but I caught a cold 2 days after it arrived and felt miserable for 5 or 6 days, and then my English writing isn't particularly good. Things are very good for me at the moment with their majesties, but when I return to Petersburg and am alone, it will probably be sad. My service is going very well. I've gotten very comfortable with the officers, especially with those of my company, 2nd Lieutenant Walden and 2nd Lieutenant Agapov. You probably don't know them. The commander is Captain Blank. I couldn't make out the name. I send big hugs to all 3 of you, and especially Matushka. P.S. When will Madame Klerker follow your example? Signed, Dmitri. All right. Very good. I like this letter a lot. Yeah, okay. I think I was mistaken in saying he was probably at Tsarskoye for the weekend. A lot of times, I go over these before I do the video, and I think, I've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's, and then while I'm right in the middle of doing the video, something occurs to me, and in this case, it's the fact that the 2nd Guards Rifle Battalion was actually headquartered in Tsarskoye. So while he was doing his service there, undoubtedly that's where Dmitri was living. All right, mamasha. Interesting word. Dmitri uses, 3 different forms of a diminutive for mother, mommy, mommy. One is mamichka. He used that for his stepmother, and I think once for the empress. The other is this one, mamasha. And then the third, which he also uses in this letter, is matushka. But matushka is not, it's more sort of a peasant thing, I think. Little mother, you've all heard it because the peasantry called the emperor and empress batushka, little father, and matushka, little mother. But mamasha and mamichka, I've never been all that clear on the difference. I have a Russian friend, Olga Marchenkova, who is, a modern Russian speaker, not using vocabulary from 1909. And when I asked her about it, she said that mamichka is very endearing, but that mamasha has kind of an edge to it, kind of like, when you roll your eyes and say, yes, mom. But I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the case in 1909 because that doesn't seem to be the way that Dmitri's using it. Anyway, Leonard, yes, I've already mentioned him, so this was his birth. Why, and then this question, why, what does Dmitri mean when he says, I haven't written you until now, dear Maria, so that you could read my letter easily by yourself? What the heck does that mean? I don't honestly know. All right, he's in Tsarskoye. He's apparently staying at the Alexandra the Palace with Nicholas and Alexandra. He is clearly not enjoying little Alexei's company. Dmitri had issue with small children, as you know, even back when he was 14 from the 1906 diary entries, when the little girls just drove him crazy. The little girls in Tsarskoye, the Tsar's 4 daughters, oh, they were loud, they were wild, they had bad table manners, all of those things he complained about. He really did not like them at all. Now it seems to be the case with Alexei. He's not complaining about the girls, but he's saying, yeah. So Alexei was what, 5, 4? And I can't remember which letter it was that Dmitri talked about how it was difficult while he was staying at Tsarskoye Selo. It was difficult for him to get away from Alexei because, you know, Dmitri was a very amusing guy. He liked to clown around, and be careful about doing that around little children because they're so amused that then they want you to do it nonstop, right? I don't have children, but I've definitely come to that realization with nieces and nephews. You do one thing that they like, and they're not going to leave you alone until you've done it 20 times. And yeah, anyway, I don't know what the issue was with Alexei, but and he was a cute little boy, you know. Leonard, it would not have been a tragedy if Leonard had looked like Alexei, but apparently at this particular moment, Dmitri was not enjoying having Alexei around, hence this rather harsh comment that it would be very sad if Leonard were to end up looking like or behaving like Alexei. All right. Yeah, so the 2nd Guards Rifle Battalion was the unit that Dmitri was the honorary commander of, beginning when he was 13 years old. After Grand Duke Sergei's death, Nicholas, as a sort of solace to him and a mark of favor, had made him the honorary commander of the 2nd Guards Rifle Battalion. You've probably all seen the photos of him as a little guy of 13 and 14 in his uniform and reviewing the battalion. And so now he's doing this interval of service with the battalion. He had been, since practically birth, designated for the Horse Guards. The earliest uniforms that you see him in when he's just a tiny little boy are Horse Guards uniforms. But, you know, I guess he's being allowed to have this infantry experience, so that's nice, you know. And he's enjoying it, obviously. He knows it's not going to happen again. He's going to go into the cavalry, and that will be that. So, you know, he's not wild about the idea of rushing off to Sweden to see his sister in the aftermath of the birth. That's understandable. He's a 17-year-old who's doing something new, really enjoying it. So, and he's not going to have a chance to do it again. Now, he says that the battalion will be going to Krasnoye at the end of June. So Tsarskoye Selo. So Selo means not exactly village. Derevnya is the word for village, but a settlement, sort of, a little larger than a village. So Tsarskoye Selo is the Tsar's settlement. Krasnoye is the red. And the thing about Krasnoye is it's where summer maneuvers were every year in Russia. The summer maneuvers for the guards in St. Petersburg military district were in Tsarskoye Selo. There was an encampment, and society all went there from Petersburg and watched, you know, the glittering spectacle of the military reviews and that sort of thing. I think that was where Kshesenska first was hooked up with Nicholas II when he was Tsarevich. Everybody enjoyed Krasnoye, not just the military people, but the society in general. Well, Dmitri obviously will not be going to Krasnoye this year because he will be going abroad. But yeah, I'm a little surprised that the battalion will be leaving for Krasnoye at the end of June, because I thought none of it happened till August, but go figure. Okay, another interesting thing, Dmitri has had a growth spurt. Again, I refer you back to 1906 and even 1907. When you look at the photographs of him between the ages of 13 and 15, he was just a little guy. you know, for someone who would end up being quite tall. He you know, at 14, he doesn't even look like he's necessarily hit puberty yet. So now he's 17. Obviously, he's had a growth spurt. He had civilian clothes made for himself in 1908 when he went to Sweden. He's outgrown them. Okay. I wish I had a collection of pictures going from, you know, 13 on to this point in 1917 to see, you know, when he really shot up. So he's correctly saying that Nicholas and Alexandra will be going to Sweden during the summer. They'll be going at the end of June on the Standard. And for whatever reason, they're not going to take Dmitri with them. There are plenty of photographs of Dmitri on the Standard. And maybe when we get into the 1910 letters, did he go with them in 1910 maybe, or 1911? Anyway, he wasn't with them in 1909. He would be going to Sweden on his own. Interesting that he says it's not easy for him to write in English. That's certainly understandable. It's not easy for me to write in Russian or in German or in any language other than English. So yeah, if you have a cold and you're feeling miserable, you know, it's just going to make it all the less pleasant. Okay, loneliness in Petersburg. You know, he's talked about that before. He and Maria were very close, and Dmitri didn't have a lot of friends his own age at this point in his life. And so when he wasn't en famille in Tsarskoye, it was going to be him and Laming and, you know, few people in a more or less empty palace. Zhdanov, by the way, was, I believe, his valet. So that's another reason why it would be inconvenient for him to go to Sweden right now. He'd have to have a replacement valet, I guess, and wear clothes that were too small for him. Anyway, yes, you know, this is nice. He's overcoming a little of his shyness. He was comfortable in public, in formal, you know, appearances and that sort of thing. He seems to have been, yeah, genuinely shy with people that he didn't know, in closer contact. So he's enjoying the company of these two officers, Walden and Agapov. I wonder where Walden came from. That's nice. They've hit it off, maybe. We don't know who the captain is because I can't make out his name. Yeah, despite being the honorary commander of the unit, Dmitri would have been not even a second lieutenant yet. When he started his service with the Horse Guards the following year, and up until 1914, he started the First World War as a cornet, which is the absolutely lowest officer's rank in the cavalry. Then he calls his sister Matushka. That's got a little more weight than the purely affectionate Mamachka or Mamasha. Madame Clerker. I'm still not clear exactly who the Clerkers were. I think this is the first time he refers to the wife. Apparently he thinks she should be getting pregnant. Well, none of his business in it, is it? Oh, well, just a joke. Okay, next time, I don't know. I'm tempted now. Well, it will either be 1909, 1910, or 1939. So we'll see, but whatever it is, I hope to see you then. Bye.